Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 4.
The Gale Force Wins podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca.
And welcome to another edition of Gale Force Wins, very special edition. We are still in Budapest having a wonderful time, really immersing ourselves in the culture, the beauty, the architecture, the cuisine, the people, and none of that happens without a really cool tour guide to take you through, an expert in the city, an expert in the culture. Judith, what do you think?
Oh, I'm having fun with you guys, and I'm so glad that you came all the way from Atlantic Canada to visit Budapest, and I hope you're having fun too.
Come on, having fun? How can you not have fun? Really, we are having a lot of fun. So our next guest, pretty exciting to have her on the show.
So our next guest is our tour guide, the Aniko Dalos. But Aniko, why don't you start introducing yourself, and why don't you do it in French?
Ah.
Actually, yes, why not? Donc, je me présente d'abord. Je suis Aniko Dalos et je vis ici en Hongrie. J'ai une agence pour recevoir des gens. J'adore ça. J'adore montrer mon pays. Et j'adore leur faire comprendre pourquoi j'adore la Hongrie. Et je pense que quand ils vont retourner au Canada, tout le monde va penser à la Hongrie non pas comme une tâche sur la carte de l'Europe, mais comme quelque chose qui leur fait battre leur cœur. So I prefer turning on English because you smile, but I'm not quite sure that you understand.
You got everything you said.
Yes, yes. I run my welcoming agency, so I love hosting people. I will tell you why I chose to do this. But my purpose always, when I welcome someone and when I host someone for weeks probably, is that when they return back to Canada and when they look at Europe's map, they take back their memories. They don't think about Hungary just like a small spot somewhere there, but they have a heartbeat, or they have some feelings which they recall how fine they were here, or what memories they have. Yes, this is not only my job, but this is my passion.
Where does this passion come from? Tell us about yourself. Where did you come from, and where did this burning desire to instill the heartbeat of Budapest into people come from?
My parents, they were born after the war. So my father in 45 and my mom in 49. So they were really raised in Budapest, which was bombed, full of ruins, and afterwards with a lot of problems because all of my grandparents, they had superior studies. So they went to universities, and in the 50s, it was not very well seen. My grandfather, my father's father, he was a judge, and just like it is shown in the House of Terror, for example, which saw the communism, he was put out of his work because he was unwilling to sign some death decisions. And this is why my grandma, she had to work very toughly, and the two children were on her charge. And at that time, she was a very elegant woman. She used to be a very elegant woman before they arrived to the war. She did university as well. She was teaching ethics and dancing and good behavior for ladies. But of course, in the 50s, 60s, no one needed those facts at school. She was also a German teacher, which was not very liked, since we know that Germans were not very beloved after the Second World War here in Hungary, under a Russian regime. So it was extremely difficult. And my mom, she is from a family who were agriculturers, and they had lands which were also taken away. So unfortunately, they had bad experiences with the system. And they decided not to stay here, but only to leave the country for working abroad. So when my sister was born, she was approximately more than 1 year old, when my father, he was seeking for a new place where he could work in peace without all those bad memories. And we went to Algeria, which was a socialist country, so very important that they did not want to become some dissidents. They did not want to leave the country as enemies of the system, but they just went there for work. They are both doctors. My father is an expert in X-ray. My mom is a dentist, and this is why Latin and dentistry and X-ray profession, it can be exercised quite everywhere. So this is why we arrived to the seaside in Algeria. I was 3 months old on the plane. So really I was a very, very baby. Then my brother, he was born here. And I was raised abroad when I was very child. Then we came back for 1.5 years because they had to prove that they do not want to stay abroad. They do not want to leave the country. So I did 2 times the secondary kindergarten class. I was 5 and 6, and then we went back. So we spoke French at home, and this is why I speak very well French. But my parents put a very strong accent that we are Hungarians, on Hungarian history, Hungarian culture, Hungarian music. They were dancing rock and roll on Hungarian music. And we came home to Hungary every summer for 3 weeks to my grandparents, to the ones who lived in a village, so who were agriculturers. And it was very interesting because when we moved home in 88, in 89 it was democracy arriving to Hungary. I will never forget when they told we are going home. And home for me, it was, okay, I know there's a country somewhere where we spend 3 weeks every summer, but it was it was just like jumping in the unknown. Then I had to write an entrance exam to a Hungarian school in Hungarian history, literature, grammar, extremely difficult. For 1 year, I was learning 8 years of Hungarian, everything it's called. So lessons all the time. Then I entered the school, but finally I decided to go to France afterwards for the superior studies. So I did the College for Foreign Trade in Hungary, and afterwards I did my studies in Paris. I learned French and English, so I did my degree in both languages, and I decided to do something very important for my country, which I love, because I did not want to stay abroad. I said, there's so much beauty in this country, and there's so much heart that I cannot imagine my life anywhere else.
What did you study in Paris?
The name of Sciences Po, so the school itself, it's economy and marketing, but I was on the international management section. It was extremely, I was proud because the companies came to pick up people according to our CVs and not the inverse. So I started working with Danone because the companies which had some some subsidiaries in Hungary, they were looking for Hungarian people studying in Paris and having, can I say, good knowledge of the profession as well, but who were extremely sure that they would go home afterwards and they would work in the subsidiary company. And this is how Renault, Danone, or some other companies, they were really making some interview with students in this Sciences Po school.
So while you may have left Hungary and your mom and dad left Hungary, Hungary never really left you. You were always, Hungary was always burning in the family. So how did you, tell us what you do now in the moment. What is your job now?
I have 4 children, it's very important to tell, and in Hungary we are a traditional country, so we respect our husband, we have to cook because it's very important, as late at weekends, to eat húsleves, the one we had at midday now, this consommé. And it was very important that I do something after this multinational career, which could allow me to be a real Hungarian mom, housewife, but to exert a profession which will make me very happy, because only a happy mom and a happy wife can make a happy family. Mm-hmm. This is why, after 10 years of Danone, I left the company, and I have done 2 years of tourism school. And after this, I founded my own agency. The name is Pannonvoyage, because the word voyage, it's traveling, and Pannon, it's Pannonia. It's the Roman provincia's name of this territory. So it shows my love to history, it shows my love to culture and to languages, and I wanted people to understand that it's just like a voyage. It's just like, not only physically, but we move away and you have to give yourself completely to what I propose or what the country proposes to you, because it's not with your eyes, but with all your soul and all your being that you will be able to witness and to feel what Hungary hides and means.
Which is a great conduit into kind of the next question. Tell us what there is to do and see and feel and taste in Hungary.
Hungary, as history, is extremely rich, because we were a Roman provincia, so we had many ruins and we have many aqueducts. Thus we have many spas, because it was very important for Roman people to have the health by water. And all this can be found today. It's very nice to try. It's not only tap water and I just sit in my bath. Or it's not just a jacuzzi in the very good hotels. The spa really has something, it's a whole culture. You have to enter, you have the mood, you have the smell, you have all the decoration all around you. So this is something absolutely to live. And afterwards, simply you feel good. It's a way of peace that you find in yourself through your body. Spa, it's sanitus per aqua, so it's really the health, the calm and the well-being by water. After the Romans, we had the Hungarians who came. We are in the 9th century, a very proud nation, and it's very interesting because Hungarians is derived from the Huns of Attila, but it's also the Hongri, it's the ogre, because we were so fierce nation, and we did not want to be land carer, we did not want to be hunters, we just went away to steal all around Europe, and this is why we were so dangerous that everyone thought that we are just like the ogres. So when you see the ogre in the films today, this is because the word comes from Hongre.
Okay.
Yes,
It's
so
like Shrek.
Yes, it's the Hongre.
Right.
So I think that when we want something, we just struggle for it very much. And I love this. You can see in people, we are very honest, very open people, but if we decided to have it, we care about it and we struggle until we get it. Then we had the beauties of the Middle Age and the Renaissance time. All the monuments that we see all around. It's, for example, the Matthias Church here in the Castle District where we are now. So we can really have a beauty for the soul and those who love architecture, or also for the paintings. Then we have the musicians, and we have the cuisine of the Turkish time, because we had the Turkish occupation for 150 years. Okay. The paprika, for example, that we taste in many of our dishes, comes from the Turkish one, or the rétes, which is the strudel. But the Hungarian strudel is different, because the strudel in Austria, it's a 1-layer pastry. In Hungary, you just roll, and it's a 1 millimeter pastry. And the fruit inside, for example, it's raw when you put in oven, and in Austria it's preheated a bit. So, but also, you know, the Turks, they went until Austria, so the strudel is a kind of baklava, but the Hungarian rétes, absolutely, but the taste is different already. So we have all this rich gastronomy, which comes from the Hungarians, which come from the Turks, and afterwards we are together with the Habsburgs for 300 years. So it's an Austrian branch of family, and we have the Wiener Waltz, we have constructions. We have the classic construction, we have the Baroque construction, and we have all the balls, all the gallantry towards women, which I love also, because I think it's so good to feel a woman. I don't think that I would like to be very much equal to men. And it's very nice to have those small signs which we understand among each other. And when I welcome someone, I always tell them, for example, when you enter to a room, first man enter, to be sure that no hit receives the first person entering, and it's only when he's sure that there is no danger, then he lets his lady entering. We take off the coat and we give back the coat to the lady. We just pull the chair so that she sits down. It's very nice, and I love this in Hungary, and I think it would be a pity to lose all this. We have many programs, just like concerts. For example, the Academy of Music is beautiful, but also for younger generation, we have a lot of concerts. We can go, for example, in the Castle Hill, or we have the Artemovsk. It's a boat, which used to be a Ukrainian boat. And on the bottom, you have rock concerts, you have jazz. So we really can do a lot, I think, and people meet, people just chat with one another. We speak languages, it's very important. In our schools, we learn English or German in the elementary school already, and in the secondary school, Spanish, Italian, French come also. Hungarians are very open, and when someone comes to Hungary, I just feel the person first. So I love chatting. I don't ask what would you like to see, because probably you don't know. Because when you don't know the selection, you don't know what you want to see. So tell me about yourself. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you are interested in. And then I will bring you to the best place where you will feel yourself.
That's a great way to approach it, right? Because oftentimes people don't know what they don't know, right? They just don't understand what's here. There's so much here. You've covered so much, but you even didn't talk about the Danube yet. This beautiful river that runs straight through this amazing city. Tell us about the importance of that river to this city and to this country.
The Danube is the second largest river after the Volga in Europe. It's, if I remember well, 2,800 kilometers long. And in Hungary, it is very important for its beauty and also for the boat cruises. Why? You probably know the Danube or Donau. It's the blue Donau, so the waltz of Strauss, but also because it divides the capital, Buda and Pest, to two sides. And it's very nice because Buda is hilly, Pest is flat. And when we take, for example, a nice cruise on the boat, you can see both sides, just like the lady and the man were chatting with each other. And you have the beautiful lights. The importance of the Danube is also because of irrigation in many places. Let's not forget that in Hungary, before the time of refrigerator, the Danube took the ice cubes from the German mountains, and those ice cubes, they were just taken from the Danube, and afterwards they were put into the holes, for example, the cellars of this castle where we are now, all this castle district. And like this, when they just brought down some meat or just brought down some wine, it was the cooling place. So the Danube gave the refrigeration. Also, it gave the fish, and now today it gives really romantic view and the opportunity to take boat cruise, or we can also go to Austria, for example. Vienna is not so far away.
You took us through some tours here recently and you explained statues to us and who is who and complex and beautiful and so much history. But one stood out in my mind that many people have seen before that quite didn't understand. This huge tiger with a snake wrapped around it and it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. Explain that to the audience.
Hungary, I told much about the history, so the Turks, the Habsburgs. After Habsburgs, who were dethroned, so it was not a decision, because normally a king is ruling because of the voluntary of God. So we believe that God wants the king to become a king. And it was the dethronement, so in 1920 we had no king anymore. And afterwards, the First World War, Hungary, which used to be 3 times the size of today, was divided into 5 countries. So in our neighborhood, we have all those countries.
List those 5 countries.
You have Croatia, Austria, Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania, and Serbia.
Wow, and that all used to be Hungary as we know it.
Yes,
Wow.
and
Part of
1/3
those
only,
part of
so
those
nearly
countries.
300,000 square kilometers used to be Hungary. Now it's 92,000 square kilometers.
Right.
So we really lost a lot, and people, we lost more than 8.5 million of people.
So all those people that were living in those regions, truly Hungarian,
Yes.
they lose their country.
I'd say that the map was moving under their feet. Because
okay.
they always stayed in the same place, and their heart is beating for Hungary. Even today,
Right.
they speak Hungarian, they try to maintain culture, and Hungary is really helping a lot. For example, in Ukraine, what is happening now, we have a lot of Hungarian people, and we give a lot of books, and we give really not only humanitarian, but also for culture and technical items so that they can survive. And it's the same for Transylvania, so it's the western part of Romania, or in Slovakia. So we had to live the dividing of our country. Afterwards, during the Second World War for 4 years, Hungary received back the part where at least 90% of the population was Hungarian. So then we again knew a Hungary of approximately 150,000 square kilometers. But as we were defeated in the war, no one took into consideration those statistics, but they said, okay, let's go back to the borders of 1920. And all these losses, and afterward the communism arriving to Hungary, made us very suspicious towards everyone. Because even if we are very open, very true person, if we have statistics, if we struggle for our right and for what is good, I think we're a very naive nation. But naiveness is beautiful because we are happy. But on the other side, we are always afraid that someone wants to cheat us now.
Right.
And this is exactly what this lion, not tiger, but lion means. We are strong and we struggle like lions. We are the king, maybe, of the animals, okay? But we don't pay attention to the snake, which just comes. And from behind, who bites us. And thus we lose many things. We lose territory, we lose the airplane company, national airplane company, as we saw this morning. And we lose a lot of things because of inattention. And this is why I think that to know a Hungarian, we really have to come here and live among Hungarians, at least for a week or 10 days, and meet many people. Because when we watch the news, we only know the politicians, or we know the people with whom you make an interview, who maybe are not so honest on me, because, you know, Gale Force Wins, it's a very honest channel, and I love what you do, really. I think it's... this is real Hungary, what we're doing here. But when you read the newspapers, sometimes, you know, you read what the journalists wanted to make understand. So this is the lion, but you have many other beauties. You have many important persons, just like Andrassy, who is standing next to the parliament. Or we have the whole Hero Square with Archangel Gabriel, who just appeared in the dream of the Pope and who said, Hungary, you just came. You are polytheist pagan people coming from the East in the 10th century. But I know already, because I'm Archangel Gabriel, that you will be the pillar of true faith in Central Europe. So the king receives the right to be an apostolic king, which means that he has the right to elect the bishops and archbishops without the permission of the Pope all alone. So already in the year 1000, the first king, St. Stephen, he was the ruler of his army, of the church and of the state, because we love this country and we will manage really at its best. And also we want to make feel that if someone comes here, he's always welcome.
Well, you certainly feel welcome when you come here. There's no doubt about that. And you're right about if you were to watch traditional media, you would get a lens on a country and you might pass it over. Say, I don't want to go there, too complicated. This is not complicated. This is easy to come. We went to a beautiful airport today, which is remarkable in its luxuriety and in how modern it is, welcoming people to this country. You're both very passionate about Hungary, and rightly so. I can see why. Tell me what you would say to people that might be thinking, I'd like to go somewhere different, try something new, see something. Let's start with you, Judith. What would you say to somebody who's looking at a vacation right now? What would you say to them? How would you pitch Hungary to them?
Oh, listen, I've been pitching Hungary for years for my Canadian friends.
Yeah.
And then that's why I'm so happy that you guys are here, because as we talked before, so it's not a secret that you and I were talking before we started doing this show, that Hungary, we feel it's misunderstood, especially in North America. But if someone comes here and get a first-hand experience of the people, the landscape, the beauties, the attractions, the cuisine, it's so approachable and so accessible. And it's wonderful. It doesn't matter if they come to Budapest or go to the Lake Balaton. Hungary has so much to offer. So people who love museums, people who love wine, we have several wine regions in the country. So I always encourage my friends and my business partners like you guys to come here and to enjoy, immerse yourself in the country, because that's one thing what you can see on TV and in the news and reading newspapers, but an entirely different thing to come here and to experience this beauty in Hungary. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I think that depending on who you are, we can offer really a full range of opportunities. For example, in Pannonvoyage, so in my agency, I don't have a catalog because I told you that everything is a la carte according to people.
Right.
So if you are a 17, 18 years old group of friends, then all the time you arrive at the airport, we pick you up at the airport. It's very important to put in the comfort. Then afterwards we have, for example, very fashion escape games. Because after the war, we had many buildings in Budapest and also in the countryside, which were bombed, but we don't demolish it because, you know, it's still very nice, but it would be very expensive to do an investment. Some of them are turned to hotels, some of them become a restaurant, some of them apartments, but you have some which are furnished with tricks and with some lockers, but mine is lockers.
Escape rooms.
Yes, escape rooms and escape games. It means that, for example, if you have a big house with approximately 5 apartments inside, Then from apartment to apartment, you have 5 themes. For example, you have one theme for Chernobyl. You have one room for hysteria, which is a psychologically hospital, where you have some signs on the wall, and it's according to the signs on the wall that you have 60 minutes to come out. Then you have another one, which is the cowboy life. And there, for example, you have to open the piano to find the key, but you cannot touch it because you have the strings. So you have to think, how can I get this key? Oh, there's a partition here. Who can play the piano? Can you? So read me. And when you play the partition, then it opens so that you can take the key. Okay, but where does this key go? Let's see behind the images. Oh, here is something. Okay. Oh, and the door opens. So you have to really imagine like this. It's very interesting and it's very special because it's really in apartment which, you know, were bombed or something. So it's mostly in the 7th or 8th district of Budapest. So it's for young people. Then you have the bath, the Széchenyi bath. During the day, massage and, you know, health, very nice. But in the evening, after 10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, it becomes a party place until 2 o'clock in the morning. So you have music, you can have a cocktail in the bath, you have the lights. Afterwards, if you'd like to discover Budapest, then you can rent bikes. The bicycles, you can take it to a place, it's called a booby bike. And then when you want to walk, you just put it back on a completely other place and you just do your tour. Wow. Then afterwards, you decide to take some rickshaws, for example, on the Danube River. Then you go. And it's a must to stop for beer or wine because we have very good manufacturers of brewers. For example, the teacher of my son, of the 3rd, because, you know, I have many children, he's a brewer who is teaching history in his free time. Oh, wow. So he's in his brewery 2 days and he's teaching 3 days. So many people are doing many things and it's very interesting. So you can taste, for example, in the bar 28 or 30 types of different beers.
Wow.
It's amazing.
There's something for everybody. There's no doubt about it in this city. But there's one thing that jumps off the page, and for many people who are looking to vacation or looking to visit a place, cuisine is very important, for sure. And each bite of food in Hungary is better than the last one you had. It just keeps getting better and better and better. Tell us about the cuisine. It's amazing.
Your experience of better and better, because as a tourism expert, you know, you start somewhere and when you leave, you feel that you were in paradise. So this is very important. Also, our cuisine is very, I could say, with many ingredients, and we like to test with flavors. In the restaurants, just like probably in many other restaurants, we change the menus every month or every 2 months, and the chef is always looking for something very new. And we look for example, pasternak or some other or leek, some things that you don't probably eat at home, but prepared here on a special way, it gives you a flavor, and also with the spices. Paprika, we should not put too much, but we should add all the time, nearly all the time. We are a big meat eater nation because we have a lot of very good quality meat. Around 7%, maybe 68% of Hungary is covered by forest or grass or land of agriculture. This is why our animal can eat very good vegetation. And also we are very keen on, for example, the chicks or the goose. They don't walk in mud because then they get ill. So the land is done on a very, held on a very special way. Right. Or the Hungarian foie gras, it's extremely good. We export a lot of foie gras. So I don't say the percentage, but it's a huge percentage, for example, of French foie gras. The base comes from Hungary, and then they put flavor and everything in France for the taste. So this is why we love eating. The breakfast is very rich. We say, take your breakfast just like a king, eat your lunch just like a prince, and have your dinner just like a poor man, because then we sleep well.
Yeah.
Of course, in restaurants you can have a good restaurant because Western people look for big dinners. But traditionally, we in Hungary, in family, we have breakfast, sausage or egg or some ham. The lunch is very rich, just like we had today. So it's exactly a Sunday lunch that we had today. Since we have a lot of variety, for example, only myself, I can cook around 14 types of potatoes.
So, what would be like the perfect length of stay in Hungary? Would you say to somebody, if you're going to plan a nice visit to Hungary, how long would you recommend?
The minimum time, I think it's 8 days, because you come from quite far. So if you were Austrian, I would say, you come back next weekend, no problem. But from Canada, it's a quite long distance. I would say 4 days in Budapest, because really a very wide spectrum. So from the music to the cuisine to museums, to understand history. For example, next to us we have the National Museum, National Gallery, and in the National Gallery, to understand a picture where there is someone lying who just died, the mom is crying above in green dress, and you have the blood flowing. The meaning is the protest against Austrians who beheaded this Hungarian hero. And on the picture, you can see the Hungarian colors, the red, the white and the green. Because the white blanket, the red blood and the green dress of the crying mom. So all this to understand, it's very important to be here. So 4 days I would recommend in Budapest. Then afterwards I would recommend 3 days at Balaton Lake. It's the largest lake of Europe. So it's not enough to just have a look and then to go back. But it's very important to see the sights, to feel very good wine, very nice hotels, and boating, sailing on this lake is extremely nice. The sunset, we were talking about the sunset today with the Parliament building. Then afterwards, I think it's very important to see 2-3 days of Western Hungary and 2-3 days of Eastern Hungary minimum. Because Eastern part is more traditional still, and Western part is more modern, but everything this is Hungary. But if you have more time, then 14 days would be absolutely the ideal. If you stay 20 days, then we can also go to Vienna. Yes, I had guests from Canada who were coming back 3 years, every year at the same time in May. And first time it was 8 days, then it was 14 days, and the last one is with 18 days. And we said we can go to Vienna, to Austria, and we also went to Slovakia. The Hungarian name was Pozsony. It's Bratislava, because it's very nice to see the whole of all these 3 cities.
Right.
And I think this really gives you a very good memory. And if you come with children, if you come for business, for example, or if you come just on your own because you would like to have fun or to rest, then you can give yourself to me and to Pannonvoyage agency and just feel and live the moment you spend here.
And I always say to my friends that they should come to visit Hungary between March and October, because we have the classical 4 seasons. So we have beautiful winter, we have the classic spring, we have hot summer, and again, a beautiful fall season. But what can people do in Hungary if they come in the winter months?
Oh, it's beautiful also. So you have everything in lights because of the Advent. The Advent mark, as we say, in this 4-week period before Christmas, it's an Austro-Hungarian tradition. So now we have in many places, but it's in the 18th century that rich people could already afford that at Christmas they buy the beautiful porcelain puppet, or the soldiers for their sons, and they can decorate the Christmas trees. That poor people could not afford this. And this is why they just started to prepare in maize, in corn, for example, or in wheat, some puppets or a train. But later on, when in the cities, people started to go because of the industrial revolution, you had also poor people within the cities who did not have land, who did not have corn, who did not have wheat to prepare anything. And it's then that the king allowed to the people from the countryside to go in the capital and 4 weeks before Christmas to sell the goods, because during winter time the peasant people do not have anything to do because the land is sleeping, but they need money. The people in the city, they would like to buy something for their children also for Christmas, but it's not possible because it's too expensive what are in the show windows. And this is how he allowed this Advent mark. Advent, it comes from advenir, from the coming of Jesus. And this is why we have the tradition for more than 200 years now in Hungary, in Vienna and in Prague, and now in many other cities of Europe. But this is the origin. So it's very beautiful to come here and to see really the handmade items.
And I can attest to that the Christmas market is like beautiful.
Sorry.
And I know that your sons the other day, they just had this very unique hot mulled wine. The wine that is made with cinnamon, cloves,
Yes.
and
Lemon.
some lemon and some kind of fruit, like
Orange.
either plum
Yes.
or orange, right? That's a very unique winter drink that you can only get in the winter.
It sounds like it's a wonderful place. So 8 days, 12 days, or 20 days. We met a gentleman today who moved over here for a couple of weeks. He's still here. That was 30 years later. So he clearly likes it. But it is a beautiful place. It's affordable. It's easy to get to. The people are wonderful. The food is great. The wine is great. The scenery is remarkable.
Spectacular.
It's spectacular, right? Day or night. It's just really beautiful to walk, bike, get around in a cab, all easily accessible. Wonderful place to visit. I think more people should be coming here. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%.
And that's why we're doing this.
Yes, and welcome really to everyone.
Everyone is welcome, and they're welcome with a warm embrace, because you can feel it the minute you get off the plane,
Yes.
for sure. What do you think?
Well, I would love to continue this conversation because honestly, I've learned so much about our own country because I've been living in Newfoundland for such a long time. So thank you so much for your sharing your knowledge really with us. And I'm sure that Aniko would be the best choice for visitors of Hungary from Canada or any other country really.
She gets the Gale Force Wins testimonial for sure. You are fantastic. You are really
Five-star guide.
100%. But you really are professional and passionate about what it is, and you walk away from a conversation with you learning quite a bit in a very relaxed, easygoing way, and you want more. You want to get more of you to tell us more and more and more. So we've very much enjoyed it. So thanks very much for joining us on Gale Force Wins, telling us about your business, telling us about your country, and telling us about your passion, really. And merci beaucoup. It was wonderful. What does the world need more of?
More Aniko Dalos.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.